What is up, everybody? Welcome to Saturday. Welcome to the Ham Radio Crash Course. Thanks for coming out. Really do appreciate it. Got a lot of fun to talk about. We're talking about ALE again. We're back. ALE2, Electric Boogaloo. Oh man, I can't wait to get into this one. This one might run long, so I hope everybody's prepared to have some fun and maybe try this out. Link is in the description. Link is in the chat posted. If you want to try and get in on this, get started right now. Go download the app, and I'm going to walk you through how to set it up, and hopefully we're going to make some contacts. Enjoy the memes as we kick things off. Boy, howdy. Oh, boy. Oof, let's get it started. How's it going, everybody? I'm Josh, KI6NAZ. Thanks for clicking on the Ham Radio Crash Course. As always, trying to bring you new things to move forward with ham radio, as we say. This is a little bit of ham work. It's like homework, but you do it at home or out in field, I guess. And it's a preparation, another skill, a mental arrow that you can put in your quiver there. They can use in the future. An ALE, automatic link establishment, is what we're talking about. Again, we've talked about this before. I got some people going on it the last time, but we found an option. We found an application that is very, very good, at least getting up and running. And I'm already seeing a lot of people making contacts. We're already talking about it on the Discord. By the way, join the Discord. We'll be definitely doing this on the after chat. ALE is at a very high level, and I'll explain it better as we go through this, but it's a way to use the bands that you have available based off of the antenna that you can use, the different bands that it supports, to find the best band, the best frequency at any given moment to make a contact between two locations that are running the same software. This is both a digital mode and a voice digital mode, so we'll be playing around with it in a little bit. And again, this is ION2G. ION2G is the software that we're going to be running, so if you want to get in on that right now, that's the best way to get started. In fact, why don't I just bring that website up so we can go straight to it and not mess around, because I'm sure there's people that are probably thinking about getting in on that. So let me pull that up right now. And again, thanks everybody for coming out. I do appreciate it. Of course, I lost the link, so there we go. It's back up, and boom. Okay, so ION2G's website, staying connected without dependence on infrastructure, right? This is kind of something that's used in the military often, and it can be very troublesome. A lot of times the people that use this will use specialized modems to do the processing. We're going to be leveraging software heavily to do that, and the computers that are connected to our radios. And of course, you do have to have a good antenna system that matches to your radio well. So all you DX Commander users, or those with folded dipoles, stuff like that, that can be multi-banded fan dipoles, things that have multiple bands, you're going to be better off in using this mode. And if you have a newer radio, that's going to help too. But here's what I want to point out. The download for this application is free. However, you do need a beta license if you want to kind of do what we're going to be playing around with. And there's a link that says contact us if you'd like to help. The link to download is at the bottom. I'm not affiliated with this company, but if you register, if you pay for the license, they'll send it to you right now. It's an automated email. Sometimes it hits your spam folder, and that comes with a license. And I'm going to show you how to install it right now, or I'm going to show you how to run through the setup once you do the install. So that's the first things first on that. So yeah, go ahead and download that if you're interested. The download is for this version 0974 that's right there. So link is in the description, link is in the chat if you want to follow along. I've already got a bunch of people on the Discord side of the house that's already doing this and getting set up, so we're going to keep having fun with it. But want to do my normal opening. Want to say a big thank you, everybody that's listening. Make sure to go check out our podcast, the Ham Radio Crash Course podcast, on hamradiocrashcourse.com. You can find it that way. Hamtactical.com. My wife, again, from last week, I didn't spend much time on it because we kind of had a crazy show last week with John Crook on there. But There was a question we got in the podcast, a merch idea, and something we kind of worked on. A shirt you can wear that on your back explains what you're doing. So if some people you're feverishly working contacts and people don't want to interrupt you, or maybe they're waiting for, or maybe you're waiting for a break in the lull, a break in the pile up to kind of have a discussion with somebody. Well, you can say, check out my back until I get a moment. I'll be with you in a second. So what am I doing? And then it says, describes what you could be working on. Off-grid communications, making worldwide contacts, talking over satellites, practicing emergency comms, digital messaging, radio direction finding, etc. And then there is also the one that's a little bit more high-vis, off-grid comms, worldwide contacts, satellite comms, and emergency comms in a variety of colors. So make sure you go to hamtactical.com if you're interested in that. Okay, let's take a step back and explain what's going on here. I'm sure everybody understands, hopefully, with HF radio, we go through periods where some bands are very effective in any given time of day and some bands that are less effective. And oftentimes we use something, like a MUF chart, maximum usable frequency chart. We use different websites that kind of tell us how the propagation is going. Well, what if all you had to do to test propagation was simply turn on your radio, turn on an application, and let it do all the heavy lifting for you? That's kind of what ALE is in its base level. What ALE is an application that has a list. In this case, the application that we're using, ION2G, is referring to a frequency list. That frequency list is what they call a code plug. There is a bit of programming, but if you do get the license from them, they do provide a code plug, and we're just going to be using the standard code plug for this. What this code plug does is it tells your radio and the application that's controlling it, really, what frequencies to hop through all the bands that you have at your disposal at home. So if you have a 40, 30, 20 dipole that's tuned and relatively, low SWR, across the different frequency spaces, because we're going to be using some of the lower end digital portions of these bands and some of the higher frequency areas of these different bands. And this software will quickly scan, it'll quickly hop through all these different frequencies at any one time and basically listen for anybody that's transmitting ALE. And then every once in a while, every 30 minutes, 60 minutes or more, it's adjustable, you can set it, you will transmit a beacon tone. Much like some of you might be experienced with WSJTX or FT8 or JSA call, when you pick up a station, when you hear somebody, it goes in your list of stations that you can make contacts to. It's kind of like that, except this adds the functionality of being able to switch bands very quickly. So you just turn this on, everybody knows which band they're going to meet up on. We all jump on the same band or the same band to make that contact after scanning and finding a good band that works between us, right? That's kind of the way this all works. And I'll give you a quick shot of my desk here. I am running the 7300. It's being driven by the ION2G app, which is on the right-hand side, and it's quickly scanning through all the bands that the antenna I'm using can operate on. And it's looking for any signals that match this mode of operation. With that said, I think now's a good time. I'm going to open a beer because, whoo, buddy, this has been a lot of work getting here. Allagash North Sky. This is a stout 7.5. Very excited for this. So I will be looking in the chat, but there's a lot to cover here. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Is that not what is called? So Madcap Magician is asking about trunked radios. No, because trunked radios uses usually a controller that's handling where people go, which frequency they all go to, and they're all on the same band or maybe one or two bands. In this case, we're scanning many bands, as you can see that above my shoulder there. I'm going from 80 meters all the way down to 10 meters. Okay, that's a lot. Let me flip over to the PDF file that comes with ION2G, and he's got a good little story there. Let me find where it is. Okay, let me flip over here. All right. So introduction. Basically, there's a lot of writing in here, but let me just cover this. A limitation of cell call, and cell call is a technology where you have a code that you use and a set of frequencies that you jump through. ALE is a little bit faster and it's a little bit more robust. It uses digital and also voice. This is HF that we're talking about. So Alice wishes to call Betty. Alice selects a channel and issues a call to Betty's cell call address, which is like her call sign basically. Betty's station is scanning the available cell call channels, much like my radio is doing, scanning, 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 and stops scanning when it picks up Alice's call. Betty's radio then alerts Betty of the incoming call. Alice and Betty then carry on a conversation over the radio. So it's like if you told your computer, I want to talk to so-and-so, and your computer tells your radio, I'm just going to try every band until so-and-so hears me. And so-and-so is just rapidly scanning through those same frequency lists. So it's like JSA call or WSJTX if it was constantly jumping between bands looking for activity and then stops. In this case, it's a little bit more focused, like I want to talk to a specific person, a friend, maybe an HRCC community member. You get the idea. So ALE is a significant improvement on cell call in that it attempts to automatically determine the best channel for communication. It does this by listening to transmissions from other stations while measuring the quality of the signal. So they're using bit error rate for that and the signal-to-noise ratio. In order to assist this process, stations periodically transmit I am here. So it's kind of like the heartbeat that we use in JSA call, or it's like a where you have a bunch of people listening and you transmit, everybody hears you, and then later when they transmit, you hear them. You start to establish an idea, your computer software does, building a database of what the link quality is. And link quality is a combination of your bit error rate and your signal-to-noise ratio. Sounding. Oh, so this is often called sounding. So instead of a heartbeat or a beacon, it's called a sounding, where soundings are transmitted, and it's basically you giving your call sign a bunch of time so that stations listening on those frequencies will stop and go, oh, I heard this call sign on this frequency. I can now stop and talk to that person via keyboard if I want to send them a message, or I can start a digital voice conversation with them. And that's what this application will allow you to do. Okay, so I hope that makes a little bit of sense. Let me go ahead and bring that up so I can show you what is going on. And I just heard KN6NAF again. He is the one that I can hear better than anybody. Let's go ahead and throw it to the display. Okay, I am running this application right now called ION2G, and again, link is in the description, link is in the chat, with a bit of description a bit of instruction in the description on how to get started with it. I'm going to go ahead and stop my scan that I'm doing, and yes, I will describe how to do this, and I'm going to close the software and I'm going to restart it. Okay. Also, that's my radio right there, so just so you can kind of see what I'm doing. I'm going to show you what it looks like when you boot it up here. Hopefully it comes up on the right screen. And it looks like this when it boots. All right, so what you're going to do if you download this application is it comes to you as a zip file. A zip file, hopefully we all know what this is, but a little remedial IT stuff. You're going to put this into your downloads folder if it's not already there. You're going to open it. You're going to unzip it into its own folder. And then you're just going to run the exe. You're going to go in that folder, and you're going to run the .exe file. It's got the cool little ION2G black and white logo. That's how you run the thing. Now, if you have paid for a license, which, again, I will repeat, you can sign up for the beta program, but there's a human being that has to enter you into the beta program. If you want to get the license right now, which, again, I'm not affiliated with this company. I think what they're doing is kind of cool. It's a lot of fun. It is $20, though, so you don't have to do this, but I'm still going to explain how to do it in case you do. If you buy a license, over PayPal or whatever, you'll get an email from them that has your license, a sample code file, which is all you really need to get started, and a PDF file, instructions on how to set this up. Okay, so if you do that, you get the email, you copy all those files, the license, the code plug, and the PDF, because we're going to want to research, we're going to want to look back at the PDF on a little bit. Okay, so in this case, I'm going to remind me later on that. All right, so here's the screen you get when you start up. It just looks like that. There's just a search and an add directory. We'll go through some of the options later, but the first thing you want to do is it's going to ask you call sign information and whatnot. Just go ahead and provide that. You're obviously using your amateur radio call sign, so provide that then. Under operator, you can type in who you are, a relative grid square. You don't have to go more than 4 digits. Under code plug, and let me open this up a little bit so everybody can see. Code plug is where you're going to point the application to the file you downloaded. So load from file. So if you click that, it'll bring up a dialog, and that dialog you can select where you want that file to be pulled from. So your downloads folder is probably not where you want to keep it. I put mine in a documents folder that I called radio, and then underneath radio, I made a folder called ION2G, which is also where I put the license file and then also the PDF file for instructions. Oh, you can hear the radio. No problem. Radio muted. That's what happens when I turned it off. It was in squelch mode because he was scanning. Sorry about that. Hopefully that's not as loud. I want to hear how loud that was. Was it too loud? That's not so bad. Anyway, hopefully that was all right. Anyway, hopefully you got all that still. You're going to load. We're not going to change that. So load from file is where you want your code plug. Go back to settings, and you're going to go down to licenses. Under license, that's where you're going to select the license. Again, in that file, I put mine in the documents file. I made a radio folder and then an ION2G folder, and that's where I dumped it all in. Okay. Now, next thing you're going to do is audio. Audio is paramount important for this system. Much like it is for WSJTX or JS8, all that stuff, you want to make sure you set your audio controls correctly. I am using an ICOM 7300. I have tested this with a 705. It works just fine with the 705. It has trouble with the 7610, and I think it's in the software. I don't think it's the radio. So this is still in beta. Everything that we're doing right now is still a little bleeding edge in some cases. It's my understanding that Yaesu has a ton of radios that work with this, and Kenwood as well. I will pull up the website after I do this initial setup, and I'll show you what the different options are. So what I do, if you have a 7300, in the drop-down list, you're going to see something that says microphone. It may say to or not, USB audio codec. That's what you want. For output, you want speakers. And again, 2 USB audio codec. You may not have a 2. Because I got the 705 and the 7610 sometimes connected. I get like 2 or 3 of these at any one time. Okay. Next down the list, radio controls. Again, this is for the 7300. Yours will vary a bit, but you're going to do a drop down on your radio. And again, these are all the radios it supports at this time. So it does do a Flex 6000, although it's my understanding that Flex radios do not work fantastically at this point. So just keep that in mind. There is some trouble there that they still have. ICOM 7000, 7100, 7200, 7300, Kenwood 570, 590, and then Yaesu, you've got the 897. So there you go, 897. Okay. You got a generic Yaesu. I feel like that's not the full list. You may have to use Yaesu generic, I think, for that stuff. You set your CIV ID if you're using a 7300, which is sometimes 94 hex, I believe. Ignore that for right now, but if that's, put yours in there. And then for COM port, don't know if you know this, but the best way to do COM port is pull up Device Manager, which is, again, it's a Windows application. I'm going to drag this right there. Just type in Device Manager, hit the Windows button and type Device, and it'll say Device Manager. Click it, it'll start up. Under ports here, okay, see under ports, we've got all these serial port emulators. You can ignore those. You're going to see something that says Silicon Labs CP210X USB to UART bridge, and then it'll be a COM number. That's generally what you see if you have a 7300, something that looks very much like that. In my case, it's port 1. So I set it to port 1. Your baud rate is going to be under the radio itself, and I can show you where that's at. Let's go back to the radio. Hopefully this is in focus enough, but I'll tell you what I'm doing. Menu, you go to Set, okay? Set, go to Connectors. Connectors, there is the CIV button. Click CIV. And then there's a CIV USB baud rate. Sorry that the brightness is screwing this up, but you can set this to what you want. I have it set to 9,200 baud. Hey, Vern. Oh, man. Thank you so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. He says, can't stay. Will watch replay 73 from KV5SIX. Thank you very much, Vern. I appreciate it. So you're going to use that value, which in this case of mine is 19,200. Go back out. Go back to the software. Change this to the appropriate baud rate. So 9,200. For the 7300, I use data bits 8. Parity none, stop bits 1, And RTS, CTS flow control you can leave on. It doesn't really matter. And then cat control is what you want specifically. That's how this is going to work correctly. You need to have that connected correctly. Then you give it the old save and text. How you know this worked correctly is it will initiate a connection where it's looking at the frequencies, and you'll hear the relays of the radio likely click, and then you will see the radio transmit for a couple of seconds and then stop. If it stops and it's all working, then you're good to go. Hey, Nigel. Hey, Nigel, I haven't seen you in a while. Thanks so much for the super chat. Really appreciate it. Okay, I'm going to click settings to back out of this because I already have this set, but that's what you would generally do. All right, next, channels. Okay, we can ignore this if we have a code plug. Otherwise, if you're doing this after the fact on Team Replay, you might want to take a screenshot of that. With that said, if you join our Discord, I will pull up the post right now. If you go to the live stream post, Alex, N4TPT was nice enough to do a code plug for us. It modifies some things. And there is you can click on it right there. It's a .zcp file. So you will copy that and put that into, that documents folder that I talked about. So if you have a code plug, you don't have to worry about the channel settings. Under networks, okay, so here's where things kind of get a little into the weeds, and to be honest with you, the PDF file doesn't really describe any of this, and I haven't looked up all the acronyms, but it's my understanding that HFN and HFL are ALE, so automatic link establishment type modes, and then you got the HFN AQC, which is a different variation of ALE, and then HFS is that cell call we mentioned, which is less efficient, less effective. But if you go under HFN, for instance, so HFN, again, is a type of ALE. If you click, this is the one thing I would recommend you do, is enable sounding if it's not enabled, which it should be. And you want to do activity reporting under HF link. So yeah, a lot of stuff to click. I appreciate that, but we'll get you there, I promise. And I do the same thing for HFL. So we're going to do enable sounding, and HF link is what I have selected. Note, these are the channels that the application is going to quickly scan through. These are what it's going to look at all those frequencies. We can go in and delimit those frequencies if we don't have, say, for example, an 80-meter antenna, which some of you may not, or some of you may not have an 80-meter antenna that's appropriate in this use case. All right, back out of that. We'll go to band groups. So band groups, this is one of the things that was added by Alex. Band groups is what allows you to say, I don't have an 80-meter antenna. I don't want to transmit or scan on 80 meters. Or maybe you don't have a 10-meter antenna, so you can turn that off too. And I'll show you how to do that as we keep going. We're still in just the setup, guys. I promise we'll get you there. All right, so this is in the weeds a little bit. There isn't much you have to do on this page, at least to get started. But you may have to change this ALE call detect threshold. What that's looking for is specifically when you're receiving a signal, you're going to want, if you're having trouble pulling people out, or your computer's just not seeing a lot of calls, you may want to increase that detect threshold a little bit. More likely, though, you will need to reduce the detect threshold as you go. And then under ALE nets, I don't have anything. This is just what comes in the I'll just leave that blank for right now. This is what, never mind. I have to do that. Did it cancel? Okay, good. This is just in the code plug, so you can leave that alone for now. We already did that. Get out of there. Okay, self-address. You have to have a self-address, otherwise this stuff isn't going to work, okay? Self-address is going to be the plus sign. You're going to type in your address, which will be your call sign, KI6, NAZ, and you are going to want to create one for every one of these. So HFN, HFL, and HFN AQC. And you need to click primary on each one of them. So you will need to have an HFN primary, an HFL primary, and an HFN AQC primary. I already have those, so I don't need to do that, but that's how that works. I know I'm giving you guys a lot for the live. Some of you are running fast and furious. By the way, if this is too fast and furious and you're not able to get up and running, don't worry about it, and you still want to have some fun after the show, we will have the Discord after chat where we will be definitely playing around with this during the after chat. So if you had trouble setting this up or we just went too fast for you, I'm trying to fit as much in as I can, then join us on the after chat. I'm happy to help you, and there'll be other people that have already been playing with this now for a couple of hours, if not days even, that we can probably help you get going in the direction you're needing to anyway. Okay, so everything else that you may need to look at is under Other. You don't need to mess with the CCIR or the emergency right now. You do need to insert your license, though, which we already covered, but just a reminder there. Okay, under... which one was it? I have the Enable ALE Sounding pop-up, but you don't need to do that. Check for new versions you can leave on if you want. So some of the things you may need to adjust or play around with is enable listen before transmit. I have that set so that I'm not overloading anybody, or sorry, I'm not jamming on anybody who's already transmitting. There is a RTTY contest going on. I would hate to interfere with what they're doing. So make sure you enable listen before transmit so that you're not stepping on anybody. And yeah, that's a very good thing to do. Okay, so that's pretty much all you have to do to set up. Now, what you may have to do at this point is close the application, start the application again, and possibly even reset your computer. This is a beta. It is not wrong to expect that you may have to restart your computer. And there's nothing wrong with that. In fact, I found that this worked out very well. Once I reset the computer, everything seemed to work out really well, and I've been using it for a while now. So W9HJ Grimace says, I assume this code plug is generic. Do you know if you can set up a custom frequency list if you wanted to have a more secure ALE contact group list? Yes. If you just had a group of friends that you wanted to use this with, you can absolutely create your own code plug with your own frequencies that cater to specifically the bands that you want to operate on. So you could all have the same radio with the same folded dipole antenna, and you could just be able to do ALE if you're relatively close in. ALE is going to work out really well for you that are using NVIS and you are in a closer area to each other. You're going to have a blast using this. Okay. With that said, this code plug is the standard one that we're using to support the demo that ION2G is using. So I would recommend you use that. That's probably the fastest way to get contacts with more people if you want to try it out that way. All right. So let's go back. So when you bring it up for the first time, this is what you're going to see. It's a pretty simple interface. In fact, it's even smaller. I have it stretched out. It's denoting in the upper left what mode you are in, whether you're transmitting or receiving, what frequency you're currently on, and this is based off of the connection to radio, whether you are in data or voice, and you can toggle between them at any time. That is the scan button, which I'll stop that for a second. There is a send CW ID that you can do at any time. Again, you will be able to do all of this once you have your radio connected. The other thing I like to do right when I start it is click waterfall. So here is the waterfall audio. By the way, for anybody that's trying to reach me, I'm going to move up. So I'm going to go up to, let's go. So I'm on 14346. So if anybody's using this application 14346, that's where you're going to hit me. It looks like somebody, I think that's RTTY. Anyway, the waterfall will give you a really good idea because you can see those two data spikes, the folks that are transmitting right there, those data spikes. So if anybody wants to try and hit me, this is where you would likely try and do it right now. I am listening, so we'll pick it up. Okay. There is a volume up and down control. Don't really need to mess with that. Assets is your radio. So if you need to reconnect the radio for whatever reason, or you drop it, that is how you would rebuild the connection. OK is just a control for changing or selecting and deselecting. The button that you're going to use most is this scan button and possibly this fast forward button on the top there. That's what is going to scan through the bands you've selected based off of the frequencies that you have loaded in your code plug. Next to that is an ATU button. If you hold that down, it will kick off the ATU in your radio or possibly an external ATU that you have connected to your radio. Under auto, let's show this really quickly. Remember those networks that we set up? If you have HFN, HFL, and HFN AQC, well, if you click on one of those, that will be the frequencies that you have selected in the code plug. You can click sound all, and it will send your sounding, your beacon, out to every frequency that's on that list, which is a fast way of just transmitting your beacon. Under bands, that's where you select the bands that you are going to use. In this case, I need to turn all these back on. So if you want, no, I don't want to listen on 160. Let's turn that off. So 80, 60, 40, 30, 20, and 10, 15, 17, 15, and 10. So there we go. We got somebody coming in right there. Who is that? KN6. It looks like it dropped. But anyway, that's what it looks like when it comes in. So there you go. There's the station. I think. Okay, so yeah, 14346. So try that again. Is it KN6? No, BER is the bit error rate, and that's 4. So basically, so perfect timing on that, by the way. If you've got the waterfall up and you receive a signal, that's what it's going to look like. And it's going to go in there and actually annotate your screen. I wonder if I can freeze this. Can I freeze this? I can't. Hold on. I got to do this before I lose it. All right. So it can go away now, and I can keep talking. All right, so that was literally the digital signal that we just received. Those white little swim lane rectangles are what it annotates. The application did that. And everything above of it says receive ALE TWAS KN6. Now, I think KN6, their call sign might be wrong. The bit error rate was 4, the SNR is 6, and it came in on frequency 14346. And you need that explicit frequency readout because you're going to be hopping around frequencies like crazy. And if your computer senses a signal, it will stop and try to receive it. K8XG, thank you so much. 60 meter NVIS. Do I not have 60? I do have 60 meters on this. That code plug has 60 meters, so be careful if you're using it, okay, everybody? Hope you have a good antenna for that. I guess I could wait a second while somebody's coming in. Oh, KN6N. Did it drop your KN6? It dropped the other N. Maybe I didn't receive it. So congratulations, you made it. I didn't know you could do 20, Joe. I thought you were only on 10. Anyway, you made it, bud. Okay, and then transmit enabled, disabled. So if you're just going to scan and you don't want to transmit, you can just turn transmit off. You can leave it on if you want to scan and then transmit. So what happens after we went through that process of going through the different types of modes or the networks, and we click sounding as a check? What happens is if I start scanning, so if I click scan, we're going to see the frequencies start jumping, and if we switch over to my radio, which is connected, you see that the radio is scanning right now. It's jumping and scanning and jumping and scanning. Eventually, enough time will pass that the application will go into a sounding mode, and the sounding mode will transmit its beacon. And that way you can, get your signal out there so people can tell you how good you're doing or make it into their call log list so that then you can make contacts with them. And that's what it looks like when you start transmitting. You get a big, bright waterfall, those green vertical lines coming down. I'm going to let it transmit once and then stop. You will sound... did it stop? It stopped. You will sound on every frequency that you have set up to transmit on under the bands section. Okay? And that will then go through the whole list, and then you'll enter a wait period where it will not sound for a while. With that said, where was I going to go from here? Oh, under this little recents button, so at the bottom of the app here, if you click on that, those will be the stations that you've heard most recently. So KN6NAF is the station that I heard most recently, and I heard them on HFN. So I could send a call to start a call with that individual or a message to try a message with them, which we're going to do that at the end here. I'm hopefully giving everybody enough time that they can set this up if they want to try making contacts. So yeah, if you go to messages, you say what network you want, and it'll bring up this window. I tried to send him a bunch of messages, but I think he was scanning or didn't. I don't know why he didn't hear me, but I've tried to send him a bunch of messages already. So we'll try that in a little bit. But when you do that, if you go to, so if I send test again, and I hit send, and I go to, you can just do auto. auto call plus traffic, or manual channel select. If I do manual channel select, I can go in and actually set one of the ALE frequencies that's on my code plug that I want to use. In this case, it's saying I have a link quality assessment of 21% on 10 meters right now because Joe is like a town over. So that's our best chance right now. But we haven't actually made any contacts on the other bands, or I haven't heard him on any of the other bands. So I don't have a link quality assessment yet at this time. Possibly when I hear him in the future, we'll have something better to go off of. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a bit of a break. That's how to get the application installed. Now, here is the warning, the middle of the road or middle of the show warning message that I want to add for everybody. The warning here is ALE can be kind of a tough thing for your computer and your radio more specifically, and your antenna. And I want to talk about some stuff really quick. So the point of ALE is that you can switch bands very quickly, listening for people that are using ALE, and that you can make a contact with them. You're not really going to be able to use an external tuner, although there are setups that you can get a very effective fast tuner that will allow you to play in ALE. You're likely going to need a multiband antenna or an antenna that's specifically designed to do ALE. And I'm looking at a table here. This is a huge pie chart that comes off of this hflink.com website, which is the website that you go to if you want to download PC ALE, which we tried before. This is a bit of an eye chart, but I want to point out that the most popular antenna is a broadband folded dipole, or a T2FD. And let's go ahead and pull up what a T2FD is. All right, so let's go to Palomar Engineers. So that's what a T2FD antenna will do for you. It will go between 1.8 and 30 megahertz. Is this the most effective, efficient antenna of all time? No, and it's not meant to be. It's meant to be an antenna that provides a wide bandwidth of usable frequency. Again, not a dummy load. Don't make me buy one of these and do the dummy load video again. But it gives you a wide bandwidth that you could run multi-band radios on, and radios that can switch very fast and very quickly. Another note, not all radios are going to be able to do ALE. This is something that is, you have to have the right radio that's suited for it. That reminds me, we need to go back a step so I can show you the list. Okay, currently the radios that are supported are, the G90 is working on this. I'm definitely going to get the G90 working on this, by the way. So again, 7300, 706 Mark II and Mark II-G, very cool. ICOM F8101, IC 7100, 7200, and then there's the generic ICOM. I could not get that to work with the 7610. The TS 590, 570, Yaesu generic, I don't know what that means. So the G90 will work with with the 7100 emulation. I am totally going to try that. That's cool. Excellent. Okay. If you get stuck doing this, and I don't answer your questions on this live stream or whatever, there's a link here to the groups.io. I have that up right here. Join the groups.io and you will get a whole list of things. I made a post about the 7610 not working, but nobody's replied to me yet. But keep that in mind. And then lastly, the manual. Again, if you're watching this after the fact, or I did a poor job of telling you how to set it up, please read the manual and follow this configuration that starts on page 8 to the letter. The better you follow this, the easier this will all work. And that's definitely what you want to try and do. So with that said, that leaves us a little bit of time here that we can play radio. I know there's some of you out there that have this set up. So I am going to go back to this setting. And nobody has sent anything. So I'm going to hit scan, and we're going to watch my radios scanning there in the lower part. And what you'll see, so you notice that RTTY signal that was right there on the right-hand side of the waterfall, now it's just turning kind of into a sea of blue. It's hard to tell, but there's actually like graduated slices of RF, or of data that you can see on that list. I'm going to make sure I got all my power going out too. And so it's actually slicing up the waterfall, listening for a minute and displaying it and printing it out. So it's pretty cool. I know the chat just went silent. This is a headier topic, for sure. I appreciate that there's a lot going on. W9HJ Grimace says, what radio setting did you use for the 705? The same settings as the 7300, just make sure you're using the right Civ ID for the 705 in the application. Set it to the custom Civ ID. Yeah, Bubblehead FT. No, you definitely want to use a 7300 for the 705. Yeah, Joe's in the same boat as me. I kind of have an IT background before I became an engineer. I did not read the manual for anything until I got in trouble. That's when you pull the manual out. This is not that case. You want to read the manual up front. Yeah, Grimace has got it exactly. W9HV Grimace says, terminated antennas are great for this sort of thing. And that's the folded dipole. It's terminated into a resistor. About 25 to 35% of the power is sucked up from the termination resistor, but it makes easy contact. I've done 16,000 kilometers with my TEF. Good. ZBE asks, what mode do you use? So hopefully the application will put the radio into the appropriate mode it needs to be. In my case, I am in USB-D. Here's the greatest thing about it. We don't have to be on a specific frequency. See, somebody's coming in. Okay, somebody's coming in right now. We don't have to be on a specific frequency. We can all be scanning at the same time and transmitting at the same time, and the software is smart enough. It was KN6NAF again. The software is smart enough that it will stop and listen for a minute and then keep going, and that's the prime example. And now he's back on 10 meters. So yeah, everybody who's got this going, crank up the power and let's make it happen. Yeah, Uber Geek, it's going to be USB, or anybody who's asking which mode of the radio, it's going to be USB, upper sideband, and likely USB-D. Jason Heff says, I'm in IT, worked my way through tech support in the early 90s, and now I'm an InfoSec manager. Ooh, there's a lot of money in InfoSec right now. Navy CTR radio, so guess you know why I'm attracted to ham radio. Laugh out loud. Yeah, right on, Jason. I hear you. Yeah, so anybody try and just crank up the power. Turn up your power. Uber Geek says, all I keep getting is all channels are busy. I did not experience that. Yeah, don't blow up any antennas though. I'm not trying to make that happen. There is something else. While I let this thing do its thing in the background, I am going to pull up a website real quick again. There is a website you can go to, hflink.net, which I'll drop in the chat room. This website is actually showing where ALE connections are being made worldwide. And so, yeah, you can see these long path ALE connections that are happening. That's what these long lines are for. These are active contacts that are happening. So that's on 10 meters. That is on 7 meters. This is on 10 meters. And all those little dots are beacons. So if we dive in here, let's dive into some of these and see what's up. So I got one right up on NorCal. This is an HFN pilot station. So that's WB6MZ3. Oops. I'm trying to scroll. Stop it. So these are all just beacons of people that have popped up. I don't think I've popped up. Oh, there I am. So I did get picked up by somebody. I don't know who picked me up yet. I probably got to look for that. But somebody picked me up. Yeah, so a lot of this is we're letting the software do a lot of the work, right? We're letting it kind of control when our radio is transmitting and not. So you notice there was a big open blue area where it was listening, and now it's going back to transmitting. Eventually, though, it's going to get through all the bands, which we're up through 80 now. I think we've done a full pass. I'm also going to dial back my power just a little bit. So Jody says, so if I happen to have a tuned antenna on a single band, i.e. 20 meters, and I turn off all the other bands in the software, should I be able to communicate right? Yes. So assuming that 20 meters allows for transmissions to occur between you and the station you want to talk to. Otherwise, you'd just be stuck on that band. Kevin, AAZ Backcountry Explorers asks, what is this? This is automatic link establishment software that allows you to jump through all of your ham radio bands very quick and fast to make a quick connection to someone else, assuming they can hear you. In this case, though, we're trying to get people set up with the software. All right. Oh, Joshua Fuller, I think, is right. So somebody said earlier they're getting an all channels busy message. So that likely means that you have to adjust your sensitivity for the listen before transmit threshold. Yeah, I agree, Joshua. This is a very cool mode. But yes, it is frustrating, and you do have to have the appropriate antenna for it. The Step IR antenna, which is my primary antenna, not ALE friendly, nor would anyone ever recommend that. And in fact, who was I talking? It was Ray Novak. Ray Novak was actually mentioning that ICOM sells a terminated folded dipole that will do all bands, and it's designed to do ALE. That's its purpose. There's actually a lot of terminated folded dipoles that you could do if this was something that was interesting to you. Bryce Hughes, that's an interesting comment. I have to think about it. I feel kind of lucky as a ham to have frequencies with a harmonic relationship with multiband antennas are practical. Yeah. Yeah. Does it create logs? Well, okay, good question. Like output at ADF? Yes. So, well, it kind of. That's not really. That's an actual software log. Not in the sense that you're thinking, like an ADIF log. Prepper POV, you got me, man. He says, you got Dave Canterbury hooked on ham radio. Laugh out loud. Can't wait for a collab. Honestly, I don't think I did unless he was just watching a lot of my videos. He is a smart dude. He picked it up quick. Like, he went from technician on, like, week 1 when he sent me a message, and now he's all up on HF. He's already out there chasing POTAs, Parks on the Air. It's really cool watching him go through it. Dave's fat. He picked it up quick. I'm very impressed by Dave. But yes, I will be going out to hang out with Dave. So I'm not hearing anybody right now. So it's possible that we just don't have a lot of people out there, or I'm just not hearing that many people. Check your antenna connections, boys. I may have to run out and check my antenna connection really quickly. Ham Radio for non-techies asks, how long after... Oh, everybody who's having problems with the licensing thing, check your spam folder. It goes... So it should be like 5-10 minutes. You should get it, and it probably hit your spam folder. Douglas V, ham radio, and more. Yeah, the interesting thing is that it's kind of expensive in that you might have to buy the terminated folded antenna. Where are they? But let's look into this. How much are these? So if you're looking for the termination resistance, so some of the Palomar might not be the cheapest option. That's true, but it's probably one of the better ones. Let's go down here a little bit. So nobody just sells a kit? This has got to be. Oh, look at that. Look at that RF plot. Maybe you just have to build your own? Hey, Racer X7, thank you so much, says, Will it help if you stand? What are you doing?
Nintendo, it doesn't stay.
Okay, good. My kid just came to get a Nintendo. Didn't want to say out of me. Just close the door. Close the door. He said, will it help if you stand in a pool of water with the FT3DR? Lol, great job, Josh. Keep up the great work. Thank you very much. And thank you to whomever closed the door. Okay, let's go back. Come on, guys. Let's turn on them radios. See, I had the same problem. Where's K-Booty? I need K-Booty to bail me out. And I think we tried to get this going with Dawn, N5SKT, but he's got a flex, and the software isn't sorted out with the flex right now yet. So, yeah, Grimace, I think I've got to buy one. I think I got to try this out with an antenna that's form fit for this type of work. Where is it again? Let's go back. I mean, they are like the first major hit you get. That's a buy line. So you're gonna cut. Oh yeah. So here, okay. Can we make this bigger? Enhance. There we go. So you're gonna cut total length left to 90 feet. So total wire needed is 90 plus 90 plus 16 plus 16, or plus 2 for strain release. 185 feet total of wire. Spacing between the wire insulated spreaders is 16 inches. 1/2 inch thick walled sprinkler pipe used here. Oh, smart. Okay. And that's where the 9-to-1 goes to the 500 ohm resistor. And then you put a feed line choke in the middle. This seems pretty cool. I mean, I need the right setup. Right now I'm using the LNR, the go-to antenna, because I wanted the all band. Shane Hill says, would a DX commander be okay since it's multiband? The only problem you have is a lot of the ALE frequencies are really low and then really high within one band. So assuming that it's wide enough, say on 20 meters, it's probably wide enough. Maybe even on 40 meters, it's high enough. Then you may be good to go. Oh, there you go. Buxcom is one of the companies that was mentioned. Buxcom antennas. Let's pull up a link to that. Oh, it's actually, there you go. TFT2. Yeah, so that's a good. Oh, there's actually how you set it up, or at least in this case. Oh my God, it's $900. No, thank you. No, thank you, sir. You can set this up as an inverted V, kind of, but it does like to be set up horizontally or set up, you know, horizontal to the ground, parallel to the ground, but vertically standing. If you catch my drift, with the terminating resistor on top. Oh, there you go. Okay, hold on. Boop, boop, boop. There's a couple of links to look up. Yeah, broadband butterfly. By the way, Nick, was it Nick? It was Nick. On the message you sent me. This is the antenna you might want to look at if you're looking on using the eaves of your home. Where is it? Terminated dipole that goes on. Where is it? Come on, come on, come on. There it is. On the eaves of your home. You can use your home for this if you want to. Yeah, you don't have to. You don't have to buy a commercial one. You can build this yourself. You can. The only things you might need is if you don't want to build the center connector or the resistor, you can do that. That was Scott. That was non-intentional. That post was fine. Why is Scott being timed out? I don't know that that was intentional. Anyway, apologize for that. There's kids yelling, and I hope you guys aren't hearing the kids screaming. So I don't have the appropriate antenna for doing this. That's why I'm hoping that somebody will just, I'll be able to pick them up that actually has a better transmitter than me. But I did throw everybody kind of in the middle of this. So hopefully we'll have some people out here shortly that might be transmitting on it. But hey, I don't mind answering questions while we're out here. Let's see. I'm looking at the by the way, reminder for Discord after chat. We will be trying to get this going. It's going to be a lot easier when everybody's in the room with me. That
so somebody knocked over part of your antenna just now? Is it okay?
No, that's not okay. No wonder this there was kids outside. They knocked over my antenna.
Do you want me to put it back?
No. Well, hold on. This is literally with the kids coming over unannounced. There was literally 5 children that did not say we were coming over. They came over while I was trying to set up everything. It knocked the antenna over. No wonder I'm not hearing anything. How long has it been like that, Leia?
It just happened.
Oh my god. Okay, hold on. Let's see if I can get this shown to you guys. Hold on. They knocked the antenna over. Oh, come on. I want to make this work. Okay, hold on. Last shot, and then I'm just going to run out there. Live, right? Yeah, of course. Mm-hmm. I'm just gonna have to run out and do it. I wanted to put the video on so you could see it, but it doesn't seem like that's gonna work. Oh, okay, never mind. I wanted to show the video on my whatever, but no wonder we were having problems. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. They knocked the thing over. Jeez. Did that change anything? A little bit. All right, hold on. God. Children. You gotta love them. You know what's funny is I actually flagged out the horizontal line on the go-to antenna. I put all these little like plastic flags on it. And sure enough, they still knocked it over. I am in SoCal. So I'm scanning right now for anybody who's got it set up. Yeah, I need more flags. That's definitely true. Let me. Oh, who's that? It's KN6 NAF. He's the only person I can hear. He does sound really good though. Where is he coming in? So, my only problem is I'm not loud enough because he's got like an S9 noise floor, I think. So I don't think. Well, no, I was transmitting. Huh. Well, I did put up appropriate warning flags. I think I wasn't transmitting at the time they knocked it over, but who knows? Let's go with everything's fine. Look at that. KN6 NAF again. Can't not hear that man. Is anybody else out there? Just not if you can hear me. Is there anyone at home? Or is anyone home? I don't remember. Dan Long, Josh, is there any limit on distance with? Sure, yeah. Particularly if you're using a terminated dipole. Terminated dipoles, as was already mentioned, are not that efficient. You will lose a lot of your radiated power into the system, but that's kind of on purpose. That allows it to be multi-banded, all bands, that you can just quickly scan through all the frequencies really fast. I'm wondering if it's just a bad time. Let me see. So if everybody is United States-wise, if you're still on 14 megahertz, that's where you want to be. The maximum usable frequency right now to the East Coast from me is 18. So 14 megs and higher. In fact, let's just stop the high one. So this is where you would go in and go, okay, I can do 30. I'm not going to do 10 anymore, 15, 17, because that's above the maximum usable frequency. So I'm just going to go to 10. I'm going to go through 80 through 20 now. And so we'll just quickly boom, 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 boom. Why is it going so slow? Hold on. Networks. This is a good mention now that we're here. I should go through this. So when you're back under settings, if you go to networks, and so HFN, HFL, HFNAQ, HFS, etc., there's a dwell value. So that dwell value, you may have to adjust it depending on your setup. If you have a radio like a Flex, the Flex radios do have a bit of a lag in switching frequencies. So people with Flex radios have been saying that they need to put this somewhere between 400 and 500 megahertz. So just need to adjust it until you find the sweet spot. David Mays says, did you get, how do you get MUF? So if you look up maximum usable frequency maps, in my case, I have a geochron right there, or I guess depending on how you look at it, that I am using, and it has a MUF chart on it, and it's pretty sweet. We'll be talking about that in the future. Hey, KJ4ZMO. All right, he's in there. So since he's pretty good, I'm gonna see if I can send him a message. So let's go right in there. Wait, no. Wait, what happened? Call, send message. Message. Okay, there we go. Let's see if this works. What did he send that on? He sent it on 30 meters. Okay, so we're going to go to 30 meters. We're going to match whatever he did, just for the hell of it. And I'm going to go more power. So that was part of my problem. Oh, okay, good. You're not hearing that. Here's a taste of what it sounds like. Okay, you won't hear that anymore. Now, hopefully, so, kind of what happens here is the scanning is so fast and the transmission takes enough time that you get enough gap in there that hopefully the person comes back around and hears them getting called, and then they can pick it up. And N4TPT, I got you in there also. Nice. That's great. Good. That's what we want to see. I'm hoping to make some ALE contact. If we got a really good, so it KZ4ZMO was decent enough in signal quality that we could try to go for the microphone setup if they've got the microphone setup. I should probably show you what that is too. This is what WinLink uses basically, right? I think so. Pactor though. Is it Pactor? Somebody will correct me in the chat. I'm not exactly positive. Let's see if we get a message response. Now, there's another way to do this. And in fact, I don't know what frequencies this individual is operating on. So we're going to try again. Trying again. And we're going to, well, hold on. We're going to use the capabilities of ALE to help out get this message through. And the way you do that is you transmit on all the bands that you can operate on. Somebody's in there. We'll see who they are. Oh, it was too faint. It didn't pick it up. Okay, so we're gonna use ALE for the purpose that it was intended. Oh wait, still some. Maybe we got a little arrow there. That's semi decent. We were able to decode that signal. It's robust enough. Ah, I heard you. Yay. Okay, so good. Okay, great. So I'm going to say, all right, thanks F4. Tanks. Shout out Tank Radio. Tanks for, again, I was trying to do 4, but it doesn't matter. It's probably going to get, the 4 gets truncated anyway in a way that it would have just been better to just go with what I had. That's cool. That's nice when it works out like that. Would the MCOM3P work with this? The MCOM3. Okay, so here's your problem that you run into with antennas that need a tuner. If you keep the antenna in the spaces where it's like 2 SWR or lower, you're probably fine. When you start to dip into places where you need to activate that tuner to help you out, what you need to do, and you can do this. I honestly think that the folded dipole is the better way to go. If you are really passionate about this, look for the terminated folded dipole. But what you can do is, because these frequencies are finite, we always use the same frequencies. Or if you're making your own code plug, you would create your own frequencies that you wanted to use. You would go train your tuner to fast switch to those frequencies, right? Using that antenna. And that should be okay. But at the same time, I don't know. I don't know if that's putting too much strain on your radio or antenna. Don't know. So if you always are scanning, and if you want to message somebody in your list and you put it to all bands, then hypothetically, they should be able to hear you on the multitude of frequencies that they have available. Because again, propagations change. You don't know what's going to work at any given time. So you just blast it out into the ether. And as long as they're scanning, they should be able to hear it at the best link quality possible. At least that's the idea. Yeah, and the advantage of also having a resonant antenna, if you have like a fan dipole or something like that, is that you can put all that power through it. So let's channels are busy. I got the channels are busy. Doom lock. People are getting that. I don't know if that's necessarily a problem yet, but let me go to scan again. So I'm scanning again, and I'm scanning from 20 meters and up at this point. Okay, 20 meters and up. Well, sorry, I said that wrong. 20 meters and down to 80 meters. Lower frequency. Let's do a quick Steve Austin. I am doing what's called ALE, automatic link establishment. It's software that makes your radio switch bands really quickly, listening for different propagation signals. Yeah, Grimace, I think you got me sold. I just don't know where the heck I'm going to put the thing. That's my problem with antennas. I don't have any more room. Let me do this. Okay, so let's do this. So I want to send another. So we got a good contact with N4TPT there. What am I doing exactly? I'm sounding. Okay, see how it says on the top there, I'm sounding. So I'm throwing out my it's beacon. It's a beacon. I'm throwing out my beacon. Yeah, Alec, that's probably in the. So let me restate. A lot of people are talking about DX Commander, including the Nebula. The Nebula is the fantastic antenna for this, I would assume. Well, good antenna, because here's your problem. Even an antenna like the Nebula, or the Nebula, however you want to call it, is going to be too short on 80 meters for the extremely low side of ALE and then the high side of where we would be operating with this higher end mode. Because of that, you're likely going to need a tuner to bring it into use. It's not perfect, and it's definitely not the right thing to do with a resonant antenna, but at the same time, it's like it's not that big a deal. If you really wanted to be efficient at this and effective, go get yourself a terminated dipole. I think you'll have a lot of fun with that. In fact, that's like 3 videos for me right there. Just building a terminated dipole and setting it up, and then operating ALE with it. There are actually people out there. Again, let me pull that website up. And I know I'm running a little long here, so I promise I'm not going to go too much further, because we're going to go to the chat. We're going to go to the Discord and the after chat and have more fun. Yeah, so let's see. So yeah, again, this is like the PSK reporter. Oh, you can't see that. Hold on. This is like the PSK reporter of ALE. This is the listing of who's hearing who and what their bit error rate and signal to noise ratio was, right? So, pretty cool. So I'm still sounding. I'm going to let that go for a little bit longer. And then we're going to do the another message to N4TPT where we use all the bands available to me. And yes, the ICOM that I wanted to mention is the AH710. That's a pre-built terminated folded dipole. That I couldn't remember the name of it, but that's the one I mentioned earlier that Ray had told me about when I did my first ALE video. I may have to build one of these, or maybe I'll try the 710. Is that right? AH710? Am I wrong? Am I talking about their tuner? Am I screwing this up? Whoop. Yeah, there it is. So DX Engineering sells it. $289. That's a big boy, though. If that house is to scale. I don't know how big that house is. Let's see what the... how big is that antenna? Yeah, see, that'll get you 160 through 10 meters. And yes, there is losses. I mean, again, because of what it's doing. 160 though, so that's a big boy. Okay. 80 feet. 80 feet. I probably can't run something that big. Ethan, good question. I would treat this like any digital mode you use. You want to keep your ALC to the low end. You want to see it, but just peeking up a little bit. A little bit. $80 feet sadly won't fit on my property. I would probably have to go with 40 meters and higher. K Booty's in the house. So K Booty, it's probably 94 if you have a 7300 or a 705, but it's under menu, connections, Civ, and it's one of the memory options. K Booty, I'm telling you, this works, man. You're gonna love it. It's 1,000 times easier than all the other stuff we've had to mess with. But we'll be in the after chat. There is if you buy the license, you get the PDF file, read the PDF file, and then load the code plug, and that's all there is to it. Oh, I got ZMO has even a better signal. Okay, let's do this. So I can keep sounding, it'll just keep doing its thing, but I want to send a message to ZMO here. So I'm gonna go message over KFN to KZ4ZMO. Let's say, yo. Now this time, instead of picking a band like, oh, he heard me on 30 meters, I'm just going to say auto call. Do it. Go. And it's going to go off, and it's just going to use all the frequencies that I have at my disposal. At least it should. Go. Go. Oh, it says channels are busy. Let's try that again. Yo. Okay, there we go. So it was probably because I was sounding at the same time. Well, antenna's getting a little mad there. I'm going to dial that back a little bit. I believe I had the power output like 30 watts if we were transmitting, which I don't believe we were. I put flags up and I blocked off the space. I have fencing around my front yard. So let me just throw that out there. Oh, Uber Geek. So Uber Geek, you may need to join us in the Discord after chat. Well, I'm definitely putting it through its paces, that go-to antenna. What time is it? Oh my gosh, I'm running so long. Can't get Cat to work with the 7300. Restart everything. Computer, radio, bring it back up and try it again. I found that I had that problem. Just set everything the way you think it should be, 94 hex, and make sure you got your port right and the baud rate right. I can probably help because I have a 7300. It's seriously dead. It is the only thing that was easier than the 7300 was the 705. The 705 went no problem. Came right up. So right now we're still working through all the frequencies that I can use. So it's going to go through and try to send that message on all the frequencies, and hopefully KJ4ZMO is going to hear one of them. And then we'll have an exchange of, you know, link quality analysis or whatever, depending on how we're doing it. Some of it is very much like PSK Reporter, where it gets uploaded to the internet and we're pulling all of that together or pulling from the internet to get those values. All right, we're at 20 meters now. We're literally going through all the frequencies to send this message. And then I guess if they come back to me and we get a really strong signal, I might, if they're still listening, might want to try to do the audio thing. We'll see. And the audio thing I can actually turn on so you'll be able to hear it. So I'm a little ambitious on this video. ALE is kind of it is something you do have to put the time in to be accurate with. So I do appreciate that it's kind of difficult. I see a child that is walking around, not by the antenna. I don't know why there's children out there. That doesn't make any sense to me. It's my child. I don't know. I told them not to go outside, but okay. Oh, I'm hoping they hear it. KJ4ZMO, are you in the chat? For those of you that are having problems setting this up, I promise that we'll help you out on the Discord. Oh, so KJ4ZMO is saying may not hear 30 watts. Oh, I'm not doing 30 watts anymore. I was doing more than that. But you didn't hear it, it sounds like. Okay. All right, let's let it scan for a little bit. I kind of wanted to do voice, but we may have to do that over the live stream. Yeah, let's head to the live stream. We probably made this go long enough. I will mention there was something I needed to show you all before. Yes, audio. I forgot one thing. So yes, of course, you have to have your input and output devices set correctly for your input and output for the digital modes. That's your modem. Your modem is your computer into the radio. But you also need to have operator interface audio, which is going to be your microphone into your computer, which you could just use a USB microphone into your computer if you want. I happen to have this Heil mic connected via a sound interface that does USB-C. And then the speakers that you're going to listen to, so your headphones, right, that are connected to your computer, for instance. You do need to do that if you want to do voice. Otherwise, this is not going to work at all. So that's what you will have to do. All right, this is definitely more in the weeds than my normal live streams. I really do appreciate you guys hanging out on this one. It's definitely not my normal, and I appreciate it's not for everybody. But I think it's cool, and it's been a challenge of mine for a while. I've been wanting to defeat ALE for a little bit, and I think this is the way to do it. I think my last step is to build some kind of terminated dipole that I can use, and it's likely going to be 40 meters and higher. That's just the reality of what I've got to work with. I want to give a big shout out to Scott KM4CZU dash, and I think this is another call sign he has, NNA3SB. He was the one that brought this software to my attention, and I think it's a winner. I think this is the first example of an ALE software where I went, okay, this works. This is something that you can use. At the end of the day, the best solution is probably a hardware modem that is specifically designed to do ALE. It's definitely going to make your life easier, but now you're talking I think the ones that most people use for ALE are like $1,000, so they're not cheap, and they go up from there. So yeah, thank you, Scott. Really do appreciate you you shedding the light on that one, and I had a lot of fun doing this one. So I hope everybody else did too. Yeah, and definitely join us over on the Discord. We'll keep this going and have some more fun out there. I will dial back the power a little bit because I'm going to be chilling out here, closing out the stream. Okay, let me... Oh, want to mention patron picks next week. So everybody, the patrons have voted. So first week of the month, next month for October, is going to be a deep dive on APRS. And this was immensely popular. This vote was heads and tails above every other vote we had. So APRS, we're talking about it. I'm going to bring cool little tips and tricks. We're going to talk a little bit about the radios that work this space. There are not that many out there, but I'm going to talk about how you can interface it with other devices and then what to actually do with it. It's not just about locating and beaconing your beaconing your location. It's not all about that. There's plenty of other things to do. So we'll talk about that next week. Anyway, let's flip it over and say a big thank you to the patrons. Again, appreciate everything you do, appreciate the support, and that also goes for the channel sponsors. And in fact, channel members, I got to add you to this list too. I got to figure out a way to do that, where we get you in here as well. But appreciate everybody supporting on the channel too. You guys are definitely not using those emojis enough. You don't like them? We can add more emojis. We can change them up and make them fun. Hopefully, though, you do appreciate the emojis. Anyway, over on the Patreon, thanks again. The newsletter is going to be coming out hopefully obviously before next weekend, because that would be the next month. It's crazy. We're starting the week. We'll be going into the weekend. I think it's like the 3rd or the 2nd is Saturday. So yeah, I guess I could math that, but no, that's not right. No, I guess it is. Anyway, doesn't matter. No, my emojis, not the standard emojis. You got to use the HRCC emojis. Those are the good emojis. The ones from the Discord. The dank emojis. Is dank emojis a thing? Anyway, I had to drag out the whole Go box to make this work because the 7610 is not yet a part of the software base. I tried. It would have been nice to use a 7610 for this, but was not there yet. So hopefully soon, and I'll definitely be checking in on the developers here on where they're at with the different software. But so far, having a lot of fun with an ALE that actually works. So really do appreciate it. Very cool. So ION2G again, very cool. Let's see what else in the. Thank you, EA3IEK. Thank you for watching. Yeah, if you have a 7100, you can definitely do this. Yep. I would definitely add this to the list. Side boom got down, and that's how we know it's time. And thank you, Brew Crew. Finished my brew there. So I'm going to head over to the after chat. I hope you do consider coming along with me. I am Josh, KI6NAZ. I will talk to you later after I play some memes. See ya. EA3IEK, I'm pretty sure you can use this in Spain. You just have to make sure you're programming it for your bands that you operate in. You can program your frequency list however you like. I have the video on the live feed of my camera, and a child just ran underneath the wire. I'm not transmitting, I'm just scanning, but I'm going to have a talk with the children. All right, everybody.